You ever feel like life is just tearing your dreams asunder?
No, of course not, Caleb. I'm always filled with sunshine and rainbows and lollipops and death and dismay.
Oh, wait, that last part didn't quite.
And destruction.
Those last three things didn't quite fit the motif there. So you're the eternal optimist. Is that what you're saying?
No. Is it opposite day?
It could be. I don't even know what day it is, really. I don't know much of anything anymore.
I'd say if it's opposite day, there's a chance, but
I don't know if Mindy sent you the picture, but I think it was yesterday, actually. I came home from work, and I laid down on the ground after I took a shower and stuff. I just laid down on the ground, and I just passed out on my face, arms down, everything. And she took a picture, and I was like, what the fuck? Was I dead? What happened? It was like hours.
You just laid on the floor for hours?
No, I think I got up and moved to the couch, but I was on the floor for a solid 30 to 45 minutes, I think.
You were just like out in the living room?
I woke up and I was just like, oh my God, my body. So I went to the couch and somehow it was worse. I did not feel good. I didn't have a good day. I don't know what happened.
No, she didn't send me that, but I like her immediate response to that. I was like, well, let me take a picture of him looking funny first before being like...
Didn't check on me.
No.
Didn't see why I was laying on my face on the ground. Cat was laying next to me, which was nice. The nice cat. I don't know, man. I don't know what happened. It was one of those things where it was like, I actually feel sick. I'm so tired. And then you're literally just like, burp, burp, burp. You just brain shut down. Just like when a computer or something overheats and it just shuts off. That's pretty much what happened to me. I laid down because I was just playing with the cat and burp, everything went dark. And you know what? That is okay. You know what malarkey has been bothering me?
What's that?
I don't think I used the word malarkey right, but the fact that after high school, most of us really only have one opportunity to get things right. Whether that's like college, job, whatever track you're going to go, like what road you're going to go down, that's like the only road you get.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, a lot of people don't even get that one.
Yeah, that is true. A lot of people don't even, they just, nope, you're done. You're done from Jump Street. Failure to launch, you are a dud. You get to work in a factory for the rest of your life if you're lucky, but you're probably not even going to get that. Go ahead and be homeless or something.
Like, because, I mean, there's like a lot of people who don't even, if it's family reasons, financial reasons or whatever, they don't get a chance to go to even like a community college or anything like that. Or, they just kind of have to, you get out of school and you just kind of got to get a job. And hopefully it's not a soul-sucking...
It is. It's going to be.
Destroying you from the inside.
It's going to be a soul-sucking, awful job. What good jobs are there? Who wakes up and goes, oh, I can't wait to go to work? Yeah, that's just something that I've been thinking about a lot lately. It's like, where did it go wrong? What could I have done differently that would have put me on the correct path? Apparently, I only had one hand to play, and I played it wrong. I probably wasn't a good hand anyway, but I played it at the wrong time, or maybe I should have bluffed, or I did something. I don't know poker, so I could just, that's the problem. I don't know how to play poker. I don't know how to play the game, so I'm definitely not going to win unless it's by happenstance.
You are not Triple H.
No, I am not. I am not at all. I don't have the Motorhead intro or anything cool. No mutton chops.
You might be the Hunter Hearst Helmsley, but no Triple H.
The old style, the Connecticut blue blood.
Yeah.
Fucking douche. He was a big old douche. With that stupid music. So, I think we should just like rob a bank or something. What do you think? Start small, like a sperm bank or a blood bank, and then we'll move our way up to real bank. How about that?
Why not?
I bring this up?
Why?
Because today's episode, we are going to be discussing absurdism. And that's just kind of absurd thinking,
Yeah.
About the absurdity of life, the absurdity of having only one chance to get things right, and most people don't even have any instruction on what to do. They just... Yeah, you're an adult. Go into the world and just flounder.
Especially when you go to such a fine
public education system
fine institution as we went to.
Yeah, I didn't want to name names.
No.
But not good. Not good. Not teachers, not good. Even the ones that did care, probably not really actually good.
Are you as surprised as me as that place is still open? Because I remember when we were going there, it was always just like, from year to year, it was like, will we be going here next year? It was like always on the verge of like shutting down.
It's only because of the sports.
Yeah.
That's the only thing keeping that thing afloat is the sports, because people care about the local sports a lot.
Well, and then they also moved like half the middle grade up there.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's weird. And you got like middle school kids with fucking pretty much guys with beards.
Yeah.
Odd.
And you know there's some people that are like sharing the same classrooms. Like some idiot.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's not good. Anyway, we should probably get to the episode before people get bored about us discussing the awful education system.
Well, you know what? You downloaded the episode already, you fucks. We won.
Whoa. Why you gotta call him the F word? It's a family-friendly program, Spencer. Fucking jerk. Welcome to the Drunken Pen Writing Podcast. I'm your host, Caleb James. With me today, Spencer of the Calcutta Clergy Killer Church. Ooh, going through the clergy.
But I feel like you used Calcutta before.
You sure? Could have been the Calcutta Coochie Contaminator.
Something like that, yeah.
I know it. No,
yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
use. I know I didn't use Coochie Contaminator because that's a
No,
good one.
Yeah.
I wish I did. I wish I did. You could be the Qatar Coochie Contaminator, or the California Coochie Contaminator, or the... Oh, he would get the jingliest toy. Look, if there's background noise, that's the cat. He's acting up, and I don't feel like wrangling him, so you have to deal with it on this absurd episode of the Absurd Drunken Pen Writing Absurd Podcast.
We'll just have to put a featuring Yoda.
Today we are discussing 7 absurdist novels that will change the way you think. It's a little deeper than just the original.
And again, like we did with the stream of consciousness, should we just give a quick definition rundown of absurdism?
Yeah, I guess we can. Because we had so many downloads on the stream of consciousness episode. We just really killed it on that one. Now the dog ran down. Why don't you lay down? Everybody lay down. Everybody chill out.
He's circling behind you. He's getting ready to.
We're all right. We're good. We got fucking crackling mics. We got malfunctioning equipment. We got animals acting up.
Now we know that the shit really hits the fan if Nova comes down here.
This whole thing is just falling apart. It's fucking collapsing. Your levels are up and they're down, and the left and the right. So anyway, Spencer, let's see. Absurd. It usually has a negative connotation, but it doesn't have to be. It's rarely used in a positive context. But this isn't necessarily a positive or negative use of the word either. Instead, this genre is about tackling themes like existentialism and the human condition through unusual means. So basically absurdism, if you're an absurd author, you're using non-chronological storytelling, surrealism, dark comedy, maybe some nihilism throw in there, but maybe in a funny way, usually in a funny way.
Probably more out there situations too.
Yeah, you're going to have a lot of satire. Irrational logic is one I like people jumping to weird conclusions and whatnot. That's about all you need to know. Things that are out there, absurd, goofy, things that could be so terrible, yet it almost makes you laugh at how ridiculous the circumstances are. That's usually when I get to the absurdism, when something is just... That's the only word that fits. It's so over the top. Usually something awful is so over the top awful that it borders on ridiculousness and makes you laugh almost. Almost. That's a key word, because if it didn't make you laugh, then it would be funny. And a lot of times these things can't be funny, or they shouldn't be funny.
Yeah.
They could be made funny, but that's a different talent for a different sect of people, not us. We can't do that. Do you want to guess the first book on this list?
No, not really.
We just read The Gentleman. Not this book, but we just read The Feller.
Oh, one of the Camus guy, one of his books.
Why did you blunder through that so bad? Were you trying not to say Albert?
Yeah.
And then you were trying to get his last name right, so you fucked up both of them.
Yeah.
How absurd of you. This is The Myth of Sisyphus by Albert Camus. This is the one I mentioned I wanted to read next if we were going to do another one of his, but I forget what it was. In the plague episode, I think we read about it and I didn't want to do it anymore. I don't remember. So this is a 1942 essay in which Camus introduces his philosophy about the absurd. According to him, the absurd exists between the human need to give life meaning and the unwavering silence that the universe returns. We try to no end, and the universe doesn't care, but he doesn't say this in a we should just give up sentiment. Instead, he outlines various different approaches to living an absurd life. His conclusion makes this a provoking read. Didn't really give any details of what he's talking about other than absurdism. So I think that's what turned me off. If it's just straight,
especially when it's an essay.
Yeah, if it's just straight philosophy, it's because that's what I seem to dislike most about his work was when he goes too deep into the philosophy. I'm just like, I don't care. Next up, another one we actually both read this one, but another author we both enjoy. Slaughterhouse 5 by Kurt Vonnegut. Yeah. Did we do a book of the month on this? I know we talked about it.
Slaughterhouse 5?
Yeah. We did. I think we did an episode on it.
I think whenever the graphic novel came out, I think we did.
Right. Vonnegut's novel is often characterized as anti-war and follows the life of Billy Pilgrim as he travels back and forth through time. We go from his early years to his time as an American soldier in World War II to his post-war years. Vonnegut explores existential topics, death, philosophy, and mental illness. Why I really like that book is because it showed the horrors of war, but made it funny because there was time travel and aliens and weird shit. That's a book that, even though it's such an easy and fun read, it would be so hard to write.
Oh, yeah. I feel like, we've only read one of his works, The Sirens of Titan, but I feel like that's a heavy, probably, theme in a lot of his work.
Yeah, I would imagine. Next up. This is an author I've been wanting to read, but I have yet. I guess he did a lot of plays or something, and I don't know, for some reason about play guys always turns me off. Like I just don't want to read their work, it's stupid because they're probably really good.
Well, it just depends if the work you're reading are you reading the play or are you reading a novel.
Well, this is Waiting for Godot by Samuel Beckett. And it's a play. In this play, Vladimir and Estragon have various discussions and encounters while waiting for someone named Godot, who never arrives. Though Beckett has never clarified who or what Godot is or represents, he denied that Godot is God or anything of that sort. He also repeatedly condemned misinterpretations of the play, but never provided his own explanation for its meaning. It's a read that makes you consider all kinds of potential social, political, and religious references. That seems to be a theme with a lot of these guys, is they never actually explain their books. They just it is what it is.
Well, I think if you do the explaining, it kind of takes some of the magic away.
Mm-hmm. Now, this is the author I think of when I think of an absurd fiction, and I actually did like this one, The Trial by Franz Kafka. The Trial tells the story of Joseph K., a man arrested and prosecuted by an invisible and inaccessible authority for a crime that neither he nor the reader knows. Some interpretations say it's a commentary on day-to-day life feeling like a trial, while others say it follows the prevalence of totalitarian themes in society. Since there's no right answer, it makes for an interesting read to think about on your own. Kafka never actually finished this book, but it does include a chapter that intentionally ends the story abruptly. It's just one of those things, again, with him and bureaucracy and just... You go through all these fucking roundabout, I give you this form and then I have to give it to this person, and shit like that.
Have you read all of his stuff?
Just what was in that Metamorphosis collection. Yeah. So that, and I don't know if it was always short stories, but all the main ones, and I think 2 or 3, they were either short stories or books that weren't complete. That was one of them. We're moving on to The Answers by Catherine Lacey. I have not heard of this book nor the author.
Me neither.
This novel is about the way we search for and think about relationships and what we believe we need when we are in love. It follows Mary into a relationship experiment created by an actor searching for the perfect girlfriend. He breaks a woman's perceived role in different parts and hires women to play the anger girlfriend, maternal girlfriend, and Mary's role, emotional girlfriend, among others. I don't think I want to read that.
No.
That doesn't sound like the kind of book for me.
No, it doesn't.
Now, this one I haven't read yet, and I don't know why. It's been on my shelf for fucking 3 years now at least. And I just read Animal Farm, so I should really get to this. Right. 1984 by George Orwell.
True, yeah. I've been wanting to read that for a while, too.
And it's not that big. Just like Animal Farm, it's one of those things is it going to make me really mad?
Right, yeah.
It's going to be really good, but I'm going to be pissed when I read it because I'm like, this is how life is now.
Right, yeah. Or even the play, we were saying it was good, but the time of reading it is
too relatable.
Yeah, too relatable.
Written in the 40s, too soon.
Yeah.
Too soon.
Book's almost 100 years old, and it's just oh, man.
Too soon.
Nothing's changed.
Oh, it sucks. The classic 1980 actually got worse. The classic 1984 is one of the most well-known books about the consequences of living in a surveillance state. You've likely heard the phrase Big Brother in reference to being watched, and this is where that originates. Big Brother is an all-seeing power in this fictional totalitarian nation where mass surveillance is the norm and there is no freedom of expression. The story cautions against mass surveillance and makes you wonder about the similarities in our own world.
So when was that book written? In the 40s?
1984. I don't know. I don't know.
Because I'm just thinking, because the book's supposed to take place in the future from whenever the book was written, right?
I would imagine the 40s or 50s.
But I'm just wondering, because like imagining like what. Like, how do you become with that idea? Because, like, during, like, the 40s or 50s, like, what did they have there to, like, make you think of being, like, surveyed?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we fucking barely had cameras. Like,
I don't know. I have to read the book. Now we are on to You Too Can Have a Body Like Mine by Alexandra Kleeman. Never heard of, again, author or book. A woman known as A lives with her friend B and her boyfriend C. Among the chaos of the story, they want her to join a dating reality show. She models herself after an unattainable beauty standard, and B tries to make herself an exact copy of A. It's a fascinating novel that explores themes of sex and friendship, consumerism, and a scary vision of the idea of modern womanhood. If the premise of these stories caught your eye, feel free to take a deep dive into the writing. As society changes, the meanings and interpretations of these ideas can also change. It's fascinating how timeless this genre of fiction can be. That was the last one on that list.
I don't know if I could read a whole novel like that, though. Like, if there's a short story where, like, I mean, if that's just, like, the characters' name is like A, B, and C, like, I don't know how well I would like that. But like I said, maybe, like, a short story I could do, but...
Yeah. It's kind of weird that, and I don't know if it's just the absurdist genre, but there was 2 women on that list who both are writing absurd stories about relationships.
Yeah.
And I've noticed a lot of female modern, I don't know if those were, the book covers looked modern, but that's not saying anything. But I'm assuming those are modern writers. It seems like a lot of modern female, and I'm saying modern like post-1980, female writers seem to post a lot about relationships. I mean, write novels about relationships in like the absurdist type of genre. And I don't know why, because I don't really see a lot of men doing that. But maybe, it's something I never really looked for, so maybe they do. But it seems like there's always a focus on like how crazy relationships are, but only from that sect. Like, guys don't have crazy relationship like I don't know. It's weird. Maybe men just think the whole idea of marriage is crazy.
It's because they're crazy, Caleb.
You can't say that. Did you just gender identify me?
Not you.
Maybe I identify as a woman, and now I'm gonna write an absurdist tale about relationships. I found another list that might be a little better.
I was gonna say, before you get into that, would you throw The Hike in there?
The Hike, while absurdist, I think to be a proper absurdist novel, it has to have a hint of realism, which that
has none.
None. So I think that's too genre.
Too genre?
Though it doesn't fit in a genre, which is interesting. I mean, I can see how someone would say that's an absurdist novel, but I don't think that fits. Not the categorizing that they have on these things, apparently. So this is just another 7. Just, I don't know. Some might be duplicates. We'll see. Just wanted to fill out a full episode here.
Yeah.
White Noise by Don DeLillo. And apparently this guy's a really good writer because I keep seeing him popping up on stuff.
I think that one sounds kind of familiar to me. Just like
I've heard of White Noise, yeah. I first read this is somebody's, what's the book about? Jack and his family are at the center of a novel where fear of death is fought by a series of pills. Warnings of an airborne toxic event result in accumulation of real or imagined symptoms. In car crash seminars and Hitler studies, classes are offered. Radios and television supply uninterrupted background chatter, influencing decisions, concocting alternative theories and revelations. So it sounds kind of wild. Okay, see, now this is where it gets a little squirrely. So the next one on this absurdism list, and I get it because he's an absurdist writer, The Plague by Albert Camus, which we just did. I can see it. No, I can't.
No.
I don't think it's absurd. I mean, I get, like, the idea could be absurd, but the way the book was handled was real.
Yeah, it's very realistic.
Like, there wasn't, okay, if The Plague was an absurdist novel, they would be, like, constant bungled attempts to get out.
Right.
There'd be crazy bureaucracy. And these are things that are in there, but they're not played up to be absurd at all.
The whole preacher and religious aspect would be like
over the top.
Yeah.
The rats, like, they'd be exploding in the streets and not just dying. Like, there would be a lot more, I think. I don't think that fits. Let's see. What is this fella's reasoning for this? Not much of one. Just dark humor. I didn't find the book humorous either. Of course, it could also be the translation. Ubik by Philip K. Dick. This 1969 sci-fi novel ranks as one of the author's best. As unsettling as it is compelling, full of tension, mystery, and deeper meaning, a team of anti-psychics sent to corporate offices to root out psychic spies and met by an explosion that puts their injured leader into a half-life state. See, that sounds kind of absurd.
Right, yeah.
Just the idea you have to have psychic detectives getting psychic spies. Never heard of this one. Golden Delicious by Christopher Boucher.
No, me neither.
The fellow who wrote this article says it might be his favorite book of all time. Not if that's saying anything or not. Okay, so in this book, I'm trying to find the synopsis. It's just in the middle here. But in this book, you can have a sentence as a pet. Bookworms can ruin crops and threaten communities. Inanimate objects have personalities, and a reader is inserted into the story as an active character. Wanders around his world in a state of uncertain isolation, making brief connections with an array of people and things, trying to locate his place in a family with a mother who's often absent, patrolling the town with other mothers. Where there was a space after characters, I guess you insert your own name. Next up, we have The Answers by Catherine Lacey. We covered that in the last episode.
Yeah.
Or the last
article.
The Sellout by Paul Beatty. Betty? Beatty. Tty. Got a Tty. Hold on, I got a free book offer.
Ooh.
Ebook. The narrator has lived a life he expects will turn out a certain way, even when playing his role in his father's psychological studies, believing he's contributing to a thoughtful expose and memoir. Instead, his father is killed by police and the book appears non-existent. Same with the fate of his town. Okay. You Too Can Have a Body Like Mine by Alexander Kleeman. We covered that one. And that's it. So, absurdism fiction. I wish that for some reason none of these mentioned. The Metamorphoses by Franz Kafka is like one of the OGs.
Yeah,
the absurdist, genre.
Yeah, I mean, like the first article mentioned that other non-finished.
The Trial, yeah.
You think if you're gonna do that, you would go with Metamorphosis.
Can you think of any absurdist fictions you have read in your day? Fictions, books. Haruki Murakami definitely touches on them. I think some of the short stories we've covered definitely fall into that. Wild Sheep Chase for sure, because that's your next read.
Right.
That's definitely going to fall in the absurdist category, I believe. Hard-Boiled Wonderland at the End of the Universe, or whatever, the End of the World. I forget the full title. Hard-Boiled Wonderland, that's definitely one. Kafka on the Shore is all of them. Some of them are a little too serious to be absurd, but they're still very absurd. Trying to think of some contemporary writers that I've read that I could consider absurdism. I'm just going to say it. Jerusalem by Alan Moore.
Yeah.
The book may not be necessarily an absurdist book, but the fucking making of it had to be.
And the reading of it.
In the reading of it. Speaking of reading, I made a dire mistake today.
Oh, yeah?
So because I'm reading the Aeneid by Virgil.
Right.
And I didn't realize going into it that all it is just a fucking Roman rehash of the Iliad and the Odyssey. So I'm just like, I already know most of the shit that's happening in this. I don't really care. So I've been having trouble just getting through it because it's written beautifully, but I'm just like zoning out here. So I was like, you know what I'll do? I'll get Audible and I'll use the free trial and I'll just listen to it at work. And then maybe when I get home, I'll read some of it and then I'll get through it real fast. Well, first I fucked up and I got audiobook instead of Audible. I don't know how that happened, but it's a different app and it's a different thing. And I don't know how Audible is. I never used it, but on audiobook, it doesn't have the chapters listed or anything. So I don't know where. Now I'm lost. I tried to go through my book to find like where I am so I could read again. I'm like, I can't find the spot. Like, I'm listening to the fuckface. Like, he does a good job, whoever fuckface is. Yeah. But I'm listening to the fuckface read it, and then I'm like, where the fuck is this part? And then I realize, well, it doesn't even matter because I probably zoned out most of the reading. Like, I don't.
True.
It's like, I'm not one to listen to stories. It's not working for me. So I think I'm just going to have to go back and fucking read it. Like,
from the beginning.
No. Just from where I'm at. We continue, like, chapter 2. Just continue reading it. And I'm just like, oh.
Now, since it's just a rehash of those other books that you read, do you think it's even worth reading?
Yes, I have to read it. I have to. It's a part of my curriculum, Spencer.
Okay.
I will read this stupid book, and I'll fucking like it. I don't think I'm going to like it. Like I said, I like the writing. I don't care what's happening. And it's also really annoying because they switch almost all the gods' names to the Roman versions. So, Zeus is Jove or whatever, and some of them, though, like Apollo is still Apollo. It's like, why are some of them the same, and then some are different? Stupid Romans. But I have to read this because, well, here's my goal. It changed a little. Same reading goal, but, I threw some other stuff in here. So here's my plan, Spencer. I got to finish the Aeneid, and then I think, as a nice palate cleanser, I'm going to read Hamlet.
Okay.
Because that also comes up. Because these are things that, leading up to Ulysses by James Joyce, it's written in the style of the Odyssey. I'm sure I explained this before. So I had to read the Odyssey, but I can't read the Odyssey unless you read the Iliad. So Iliad and Odyssey. Okay. Follow me so far. And we'll get to the Aeneid in a minute, but Hamlet is also, from my understanding, a part of the Ulysses. Like, it comes up. And that's fine, because that's not very long. And I have in mind the Shakespeare I've read so far. So I could read that. And then I have to read, for the Arcade Bookshop podcast, I have to read, I think it's called Zone 1 or Zone 0, something by Colson Whitehead. It's like a zombie book or something. So I have to read that to go along with, like, the Resident Evil game we're going to talk about. But that should be an easy read. And then, because I wanted to go into the Divine Comedy. But to read the Divine Comedy, I have to understand that Virgil is the main character. He's the second main character. He's the one who's guiding Dante through hell and all this stuff. So I figured, I got to read some Virgil, which the Aeneid, that's when that comes into play. So there's a method to my madness. And then we're reading the Divine Comedy. Yeah. So once we get done with the Divine Comedy, I have to read Chasing the Boogeyman. Or Return of the Boogeyman, the sequel.
Becoming the Boogeyman.
Becoming the Boogeyman. Whatever.
So wait, you're going to get like those 5 books done?
No, it's probably going to get switched out when we do the Return of the Boogeyman earlier, probably. Regardless. So I have to read these books, though. I do want to read, that's going to be the tough one, I think, Paradise Lost. I think that's going to be the one that's going to knock me on my ball sack.
Yeah. Just because of the
language
and the poet, because it's like poetry, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like an epic Shakespearean style poem with very dense language and it's all religious, but a lot of the stuff I don't know about. So and I was thinking, should I read the Bible before I read this? And I was like, that's too far. One step too far is to go and read the whole fucking Bible to read Paradise Lost. I'm not doing it.
At least right now with everything else you got. Maybe at the beginning of the year you can start the Bible.
Yeah. So I'm probably gonna be cursing John Milton to hell after I read that. But anyway, that all leads up. Actually, you know what? I'm glad you brought it up, Spencer. I'm going to put off the Paradise Lost one step because another book that came around the same time that's on my goal is Don Quixote.
Yeah,
I could read Don Quixote, and that should be fun, and then go and fucking dregs of Paradise Lost.
And I think I ask this every time you bring it up, but isn't that really big?
Yeah, like 1,000 pages or something. What of it? I'm going to read Don Quixote, and I'm going to probably like that. And then I'll go to Paradise Lost and be probably miserable. Do you read this podcast ever does his companion to the fucking thing, then I can listen to it and be somewhat happy. I also have to read Ulysses after all that. So it's like the mountaintop is there, but I have to go and climb over some lava and shit. It'd be hard.
Are you regretting the decision that you made from the beginning of the year to go on this?
Not yet, because I've been really enjoying. I really enjoyed the Iliad and the Odyssey. It's just like I said, I thought the Aeneid was going to be cool, but I didn't realize it was just mostly a rehashing of the Odyssey and the Iliad, and it's also copy and paste a lot of the stuff from it. Like the guy Aeneas, he has to go to the other world for some reason, like fucking Odysseus did, and it's come on, tell your own fucking story, guy. Other than that, I think that's the only one that's probably going to really bore me. I really want to read the Divine Comedy. I've been wanting to read that, and I think that'll be cool. Just sounds like a cool story. Hamlet, I don't think I'll have a problem with Hamlet. I mean, if you told me this time last year, hey Caleb, you gonna read some Shakespeare? Fuck no, read no fucking Shakespeare. But then I read, Midsummer Night's Dream was really good.
Now,
Macbeth was good.
Is that in your little Shakespeare book up there?
No, it's not that garbage. I have a nicer.
No.
It's also very small, actually, but it's a nicer version. Not that fucking garbage. That's supposed to be the whole Shakespeare collection in that. It's not. I didn't realize they just take a sentence from each play.
Oh.
Well, the one book's like the entire Bronte sisters books. It's oh, okay, in this little tiny thing? No, it's not.
So that was
all they did was give you cliff notes and like highlights. So if you wanted to cheat, like, okay, this is what happens in Moby Dick. You get one of those little fucking things.
So that was like a good $20 wasted.
$15. It's an ornament. That's all it is. That's all it's doing up there. So anyway, I am really, really looking forward to next year when I can go pulp.
Yeah.
I'm gonna read a lot of Robert E. Howard, a lot of fucking Moorcock.
Well, I have some suggestions. It's not pulp, but like some of like those thrillers and like suspense ones and stuff that
you've been reading.
Yeah.
We'll see how the day plays out, but we'll definitely both have to read some of the more Robert E. Howard stuff.
Yeah.
But what's your goal gonna be
for the rest of the year?
The rest of the year, and then next year, like, do you have a plan?
The plague was either my 10th or 11th for the year. I'm already pretty much at my, I always want to get at least 12, but I'm probably going to get, closer to like my 15, 16 as I've been going through. Because, like, I got the Becoming the Boogeyman, coming up, and then I have to read, since you read 4 Seasons, that's it, the Stephen King, novelette collection to make up for that. Well, I read the guy who was lost at the sea with the shitty kid.
Yukio Mishima.
Yeah, and then the short story Death of Midsummer, which I started, but I kind of put down because it's just short stories. So like I kind of put that aside for a little bit, and then what was the Murakami we just said, the
Wild Sheep Chase.
Yeah, and then The Road, and I was gonna clean my slate for the you reading some Stephen King. So those are like the 3 or like 4.5 books that I have immediately planned on the docket, but I don't think like those would take me too long. After that, I really don't have too much of a thing set up because like I try to keep it kind of loose and open because I never know whenever we're gonna.
This was the first year I was really strict with my reading goal. I think like usually I have a goal, but not as strict as this.
You normally have like a number goal, not necessarily like these books. But you're more like, I want to read 25 books. Doesn't matter which 25 books, but I
think I was up to 50.
Yeah,
the one last year maybe. What am I at this year? This year, like I said, I only focused on 7, and I only hit 2 of the 7 so far, so it's terrible.
Well, that's also because the
Jerusalem fucked me,
still kicked your ass. For like the good first quarter of the year.
So I'm at 23 right now, so that's not too bad, I guess. 23 for 7.
Yeah.
I think depending how I feel next year, and you'll have to let me know if you think this is a good idea. Okay, I'll let you pick.
Okay. This is, yay. We're Sophie's Choice here, I'd imagine.
I'll let you pick. I read the Dark Tower series.
Ooh.
But then you got to read The Hobbit, The Lord of the Rings, and The Silmarillion.
See, The Silmarillion.
That's the thing, though, because The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings aren't that big.
Yeah.
Because some of those fucking, but The Silmarillion, that's what's going to, add, even though it's not that big, it adds a lot.
Yeah.
So that's option A. Option B, I read The Stand, and you read just The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, or It, and you just read The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings.
Well, what I
don't know how big The Stand is.
They're both like around like 1,000, a little bit over, depending on.
Is there 2 of them or
for The Stand?
Yeah.
No, but I'm talking about like The Stand and It, like both of those.
Yeah, they're both. I picked because they're both around like 1,200-ish. I thought.
Well, see, because what I was thinking, which would be like a more close set, The Lord of the Rings, is like if I read Lord of the Rings and you read the Mr. Mercedes trilogy.
I'd be down for that too because I did want to read Mr. Mercedes.
And I figured like, and also size-wise and stuff like that. I would be willing to, if you go down the Dark Tarot path, I'd be willing to walk down that path with you again.
And read it?
Yeah, reread it again. I think it would be interesting now.
My only issue with that is I don't think I've read enough King to be
Yeah.
able to appreciate it the way it should be.
Yeah, I'm gonna say we'd have to do some research because you definitely have to read The Stand because the main bad guy in that shows up.
And I probably should just read it as well.
Well, I don't know how much it plays in, but you should. Yeah, you
Jeez.
should just read it.
Yeah.
Maybe what your goal is next year is. Cause you got a couple of them, but get like the first 5 Stephen King because you already got Carrie and The Shining done, so you'd only need
Salem's Lot,
The Stand, and then I think Firestarter or The Dead Zone.
Yeah.
The Dead Zone, which is one of my all-time favorites of King, is The Dead Zone. Maybe start that out and see. The Dark Tower might be a couple years down the line, but we'll get you there.
Well, in that case, if I have to read those books first, I won't make you do Lord of the Rings. I will pick some other interesting books. Probably not necessarily straight literary fare, because I can't think of anything else you might like.
Right.
That I have read as well. I'll have to take a gander at the old bookshelf, though. Because I would say, like, 1Q84, but we're supposed to read that anyway. So
True, yeah. That's kind of like the Dark Tower, kind of. Like,
Yeah.
like you were going to reread it whenever I got to it.
Yeah, so that doesn't really work. And
One year, we're just going to have to pick a year where we just do the reread. Like, you read the Dark Tower, while I reread the Dark Tower, and then I read QE1, whatever, what you read. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That'd just take a whole year there.
I do all the Lord of the Rings books. You do all the Lord of the Rings. Yeah, we good. The Lord of the Rings books are good, Spencer.
Yeah.
They're written very well.
I'm sure they are.
They're interesting. Characters galore.
Yeah.
Magic adventures and a ring. One ring to rule them all.
See, I just think one of my problems with it is going to be one of the things that you really like about it is, like, the language of it. Be like, these names. Like, because, like, other than, like, the first movie, I think I've only watched, like, most of the first movie at school one time. And it's just like, I'm just going to name everybody Steve and Bob.
I could make a recommendation. You get some sort of audio version and read along with the audio version.
True.
Just a suggestion. Anyway, that's all I want to talk about.
Yeah. Yeah, we should probably end it.
You can check us out at DPW Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, whatever's left of Twitter.
X.
X.
Gonna
X
give
is
it to
coming
you.
for it. Gonna give it to you, baby. Ooh, I don't know how to sound like that. You can follow Spencer on his OnlyFans at the Calcutta Clergy Killer. Maybe not. Because that sounds like he might get, like, in trouble with the FBI if they see what he's doing.
Yeah.
Is this like a crusade or
Whatever makes it legal.
nothing? You can't just kill clergy members.
Why not? Well, if it's not for, like... Look, if they can diddle...
Oh, I know.
If they can get away with diddling...
You can get away with a little murder. All right. Well, you can't do it. The point is you can't get paid by subscribers to do it.
I just diddle their face with a knife a little bit.
So just for argument's sake, you could check him out on an alternate account, the California Coochie Contaminator.
Yeah.
So that's probably still legal, but it's,
a lot of dark web stuff going on.
But if there's like signatures on consent forms, and he's in the clear. And you can also check out, because when does this drop? I don't know. What's today's date?
The 24th?
Yeah, so when this drops, you could check out the Arcade Bookshop podcast, which I'm also involved in, because that'll be out. And you can go on Instagram at arcade_bookshop, and you could follow, whatever the fuck Bryce is putting out there. The first episode we are covering is Earthbound. I think he said he's putting 2 out, so Earthbound and the companion book, Something Wicked This Way Comes by Ray Bradbury. I had a lot of fun doing those 2, and I really liked that I was glad we did that because they gave me a chance to read some Ray Bradbury, which is an author we should both definitely start checking out. It's so many fucking good authors and not enough reading time. So anyway, we thank you for listening, and we'll check you out next week.